All right, let's jump into some segments. So, first off, somebody I really like a lot. We're going to be talking about Gwen Stefani and new plastic surgery rumors. I don't know if you guys remember. I did remember that we have talked about her in the past. It was like literally 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I when I was pulling this up, I was like, wait, I think we talked about Gwen Stefani. And I went back and actually watched the segment. It's one of our more popular segments. So
I'm like, no doubt she's had work.
No doubt, yeah. So she was in the news this week with, again, rumors of plastic surgery because I guess her first episode of The Voice released this week. I don't watch The Voice.
I don't either.
And man, I will say she looks amazing. Throw up that first pic, Travis. Like this is her this past week on The Voice, and I think she looks phenomenal. And so we did a segment on her 2 years ago talking about surgery, and we're going to hit on some of the same points. And it's also funny, I think No Doubt's made a little bit of a resurgence on social media because my daughter's been running around saying, like we'll say,
I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl. Yeah. We'll be like, you need to, why didn't you do this? She's like, I'm just a girl. I'm like, why do you keep saying that? And apparently that Just a Girl song is like a TikTok audio now.
But it's like a trend where it's just.
So is it not related to No Doubt at all?
No. It's just that.
Okay, never mind then.
I mean, the song, I guess, that people use the song for that.
Oh, they are using the song. Okay.
It's not, they didn't make it up because of the song. It's
gotcha.
Just to be like cutesy.
Right. Yeah.
And be like, oh, I'm just a girl. Like if you do something wrong.
Right. Yeah, that's how my daughter uses it. I'm just a girl. All right. Anyway, I thought we would compare her. And first off, I love Gwen Stefani. I think she's beautiful. When we talk about her plastic surgery stuff, it's no way to demean her. It's just people are talking about it. So I just want that to be known. So I thought I'd compare her today to like when we were looking at her in 2022. So that was 2 years ago. So throw up that comparison picture. So, I guess I'll ask you guys' opinion. My opinion is that I see some subtle differences, but if you ask me, has she had surgery between 2022 and 2024? I don't think she has. When I look at those pictures, I think she looks very similar. I think her cheeks are slightly fuller today. If you look at her cheek volume, and the only thing is like it looks like her jawline, like her left, our right. It looks like her jawline's slightly more defined on the 2024 than the 2022.
Yeah.
And so. I don't necessarily think that that's surgery. I think it's probably just fillers. Like she's had some cheek fillers. I don't know. What do you guys think?
She definitely looks puffier.
A little bit puffier. Travis?
Yeah.
She looked pretty similar to me.
I do think she looks very similar. I think subtly.
I think she has bangs. Now.
Yeah, that changes everything. I try to like.
I looked like really different whenever I wore those little bangs in my hair.
Totally. Yeah, and so I don't think she's had surgery in the past couple of years. No. To me, she's just had like
definitely had surgery since she was in a punk rock band, though.
You're right. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, I think that in the last couple of years, she's probably just done her maintenance stuff. She's got some Botox, some fillers.
Well,
maybe.
How old is she?
She's 55. Yeah.
Yeah.
She does not look 55 to me.
No.
I mean, if you show me the picture on the right and I didn't know it was Gwen Stefani and you asked me how old that girl was, I'd be like, I don't know, she's probably like in her 30s. Yeah, she looks literally 20 years younger.
I think she looks older. I mean, personally, I think she just looks older because her face looks puffy. And whenever I see like really puffy.
Yeah, you automatically think they're old. We've talked about that before in that when people get fillers in their cheek, if it gets to the point that you notice it, it automatically makes you think they're older.
Where their cheeks are like in there.
Yeah, I mean.
And you can barely see their eyes, and they're all like.
I've said this a million times. I love cheek filler, but the best cheek filler is the one that no one knows you've had.
Yeah.
You just fill it to where you look naturally, like you have high cheekbones, and then you stop. And when you start to get puffy, like then people start to know, and they just naturally think that you're older. So I wanted to go back and talk about, what plastic surgery she's may or may not have and like when she had them. And so I started to roll backwards. So we saw 24, we saw 22. Next one I pulled up was 2019. To me, I think she looks the same more or less. I mean, maybe some really subtle differences like volume in cheek, volume in lips.
I honestly think she definitely looks more natural in her face.
There.
Yeah.
I do agree that like the overfilling of the cheeks starts to make people look a little bit less natural. And so, I was kind of going back through the years and I think I even mentioned this when we talked about Gwen Stefani a couple years ago. I saw her live, and it was 2015, and I remember thinking in 2015, oh, Gwen Stefani is, starting to get a little bit older. And so when I look at her at 2015, I think there's definitely a difference from a surgical standpoint. You see some of her platysmal bands, which are like basically the muscles of the neck, and she's singing, so it makes it look worse than it actually is. But I just remember when I saw her, I was like, oh, she's 46, I think, in this picture. I was like, she looks like she's 46. She looks her age. I didn't think she looked bad. I just noted that I hadn't seen her in a while. I was like, oh, okay, we're all getting older, as we tend to do. So I think that there's definitely a surgical change from 2015 to that 2019 pick. I think she probably had like either, a mini facelift, neck lift, or, even a full one. I did a pretty deep dive in looking at pictures of her ear to see if I could see her scars or see any change to the shape. And I couldn't find anything that I thought was significant enough that I was throw a picture of it up. There was some plastic surgeon saying, oh, look at her ear here and there, and it's different. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't really look different. I mean, a good facelift neck lift should be imperceptible, even if you're like right up on someone. So to think that you could see it in a picture is a little bit optimistic, unless it was bad work, which I don't think she had bad work. But I do think that she had a facelift neck lift at some point. She just looks too young. I mean, when you look at her pictures from like 2019 to 2024, and she looks 20 years younger, than she actually is. And then you see this one from 2015 where she kind of looks, like she's in her 40s. I mean, I think that you can safely say that she's had some surgery done, and most likely facelift neck lift. So
yeah, I think she started poking around on her face when she started just being Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, so maybe like late 2000s, because I mean, she probably got some, Botox fillers.
Well, she
and all
started
that.
her vibe started changing.
Yeah.
She wasn't like grimy.
Right, grungy. When you're like 20 years old, like she was in No Doubt.
Grunge type thing.
Yeah.
And then now she became more like pop. So it's like, I feel like she was expected probably to look a certain way.
Yeah,
And she felt like she had to look a certain way.
There's that societal expectation that you got to do these things. I mean, I think a lot of women want to do them. They want to look young, but you hate to think that society's forcing them to do that. I mean, that kind of makes you sad.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, but don't feel like you have to. So the other surgery that I know she's had for sure is she's had a nose job. Though there's a side by side that shows that pretty clearly. So that's her in 2000 versus 2022.
But she's always had big, luscious looking lips.
She does. I think that she has
Maybe
had
the
lip
top
filler
one.
though. I'm certain
one,
she's had lip filler.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's bad lip filler, but when you look back at her pictures, her lips are really kind of full looking, and I think a lot of that's makeup in that 2000 picture.
Yeah.
But she's had some lip fillers. So
For sure.
So I think it's safe to say that she's had a mini facelift neck lift or a full one. I for sure she's had a nose job. I mean, as far as her face goes, I mean, I think that's probably it. Some people are saying she had a brow lift. Those are not as popular as they used to be. I mean, most people are getting those results just from
Botox.
Yeah, Botox or some lasers. So, non-surgical. I mean, I think she's had, obviously Botox. She's got 0 wrinkles. There are some pictures of her around 2010 where she's starting to get the eye wrinkles, and then suddenly they go away. That's Botox.
Yeah.
Botox and some sort of skin treatment will do that pretty easily. I think she's taking care of herself, and I guess the only, and I don't want to say criticism, but the only thing worth, I guess, discussing is, do we think that she's had enough work done that she doesn't look like herself anymore? I mean, we talked about that last time. In fact, Travis, you were mentioning when we did this 2 years ago, that you didn't know who it was when you plugged her pictures in.
Yeah,
remember that?
I didn't know who it was until you brought her name up. I remember that.
I mean, I do think that there's some truth in that, she's had enough done that it's you don't necessarily recognize her.
She should probably hold off for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the fence on that. I mean,
she still looks very pretty.
She looks amazing.
Yeah.
I think she looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks.
I just didn't know who
Yeah.
She didn't look like, I guess, when last time I saw her.
Right. Yeah. And so, I guess for people who are thinking about doing stuff, maybe I don't know if it's a lesson, but the information to take in is that, when you start to go down that road of I'm going to make myself more youthful, you do get to a point where your visage or your looks start to change and you may start looking like a different person. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think the person that she looks like is beautiful. I mean, she looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks great.
She looks great. So, I think that's the only maybe information worth taking in here. I think she looks awesome. I'm not at all griefing her about anything she's done, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to make yourself look youthful, there's a ton of things out there, whether they be non-surgical or surgical, to accomplish that. And she's done it. She's happy. And, there were people griefing her on social media. I'm just like, that's not cool. Don't do that. Let her live her life. I mean, she's not going overboard, I don't think.
No, I think she's just doing whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, right. And she looks amazing.
She has every
She's
right
popular.
to.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is like how much, someone was asking how much money she spent on all this.
Yeah.
Some doctor was saying $400,000. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, that's outrageous. I mean, if you have like a facelift, neck lift, and a nose job, I mean, yeah, both of those together might cost you $25,000 depending on where you get it. But the $400,000, I thought that was insane.
I feel like some people are just like, when they're just really downing people that spend money on stuff like that, it's like, I feel like sometimes they're just jealous because they can't do it.
Right. They're like, oh, well, yeah, if I had $500,000, I could look like Gwen Stefani. Like, oh, maybe.
Okay, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think she spent near that
Sucks
much. I don't think she spent near that much. Probably, I mean, who knows? Because she's had Botox and fillers. I mean, she's probably spent some money, but it's not like an obscene amount of money.
No.
Yeah.
She still looks like Gwen Stefani. She just looks tighter.
Yeah, definitely. Fuller.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuller. Yeah, well, she looks good. So